Steve, so nice to have you here. I'll let you introduce yourself and your startup, and please tell us about you.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Steve Majors. I'm the Senior VP of Engineering for DreamBig Semiconductor. DreamBig is essentially a networking company, but it's a networking silicon company. And I'll describe first by analogy, and then I'll say a little bit about what it is, right? So the two analogies that come to mind are you can think of DreamBig wants to do for the industry what Mellanox did for NVIDIA, right? It transformed NVIDIA's ability to build vertical solutions one way, right? And we want to be able to provide networking technology to the industry in IP form and chiplet form and so forth that lets anybody who wants to develop their own solution have that class of networking, and we think maybe better.
So tell me a little bit more, like who's your potential target customer and what exactly are they buying from you and how are they using it?
Yeah, so target customer is someone who wants to develop their own silicon. This is now the trend in hyperscalers, large AI companies like an OpenAI or an XAI, and also sovereign kind of developments. You know, India would like to have its own full ecosystem, Middle East and so forth, right? Yep. So it's hard to develop everything. So if they build systems and there are components that can help them, we can help them. So any of that type of customer is a target market for us.
And your product is specifically a niche for networking, connectivity.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So essentially data center Ethernet networking that's composable, right?
I see.
So each one of these customers that are target customers that want to develop their own silicon, they have different requirements. They have different things that are important to them, and they have different, even if they use the same features, they use them in different ways, right? So there's no one size fits all, and we make our technology very composable by the customer.
I see. Very good. So we recently read about your Series B round, and you already have a large customer who's adopted the technology. Tell us more. First, talk about customer adoption, and then let's get into going to Series B round. I mean, what led to it and what made it possible?
Yeah. So first of all, we set out to solve some fundamental problems. We didn't set out to solve a surface level problem that one market or one customer had. We tried to look at the market trends, and we tried to look at what kinds of problems people are facing today that are only going to be worse going forward. And that's what set the foundation of our technology. That's what set the goals for us. But along the way, some of the leading customers in various spaces that are having these problems learned about us, came to us, and actually drew us in. So if you think of go-to-market as we're out selling, and we're trying to sell hard to win some customer, especially if we're early. That's not actually what happened. They came to us, they learned about us. We were sitting at a Protean Tech event, right? And the right people were sitting at the table, and magic happened.
So right place, right time.
Right place, right time.
Because for many late stage startups.
Yeah, and right problem that we had a solution. And they actually told us, we have searched the globe.
Oh, for
and
this
this does not exist.
Oh,
so it was a nice validation that we did have a unique solution to a problem.
But you knew that, right? When you started.
We knew, we believed it, but you can fool you can fool yourself, right?
There's no better validator than revenue.
It was nice to have that validation. And then after that, other customers told us the same thing. They said, I don't like to be single sourced, or I don't like to have one partner in a given technology. But in this case, I just couldn't find it. It was beautiful.
So was it customer adoption and revenue that led to Series B, or was it something else?
No, I would say it was primarily strategic alignment and recognizing the same problems, right? That led to it. In the case of Samsung leading our B round, there were a large number of strategic points of alignment. There are HBM provider, and uniquely, they also have foundry, right? And you see this trend not in just 3D IC development, but in HBM with custom-based dies and things like this. So they saw this trend coming. We believed the same way of solving those kinds of problems, and they had the two fundamental technologies for both what people call the base die, the logic die, and the memory. That created one strategic relationship. They were also moving from a consumer-focused company, opening up to data center as a growth market. They saw us as a way to help accelerate that. And, and we're also a sort of an expert user of their process technology, and we push your tools and so forth in that regard. And they came to recognize that. We, as a hardware startup, we uniquely develop our own silicon all the way to tape out to foundry. A lot of hardware startups use an ASIC vendor or something like that. There are good reasons for doing one or the other. In our case, it's better to own it all the way. And they recognized that we could help them improve their foundry business as well.
And that's pretty unique because typically when you're talking chiplets, you're just talking essentially code, right? You're not essentially going to final silicon.
Yeah, but you have to still go to final silicon for those chiplets. Each one can be a reticle, or you can put many of them on a reticle. So it's still taping out silicon, even though that silicon is not a full product. It's just pieces of a product.
Got it. So I think that's a good segue into talking about, you mentioned 3D IC compiler, but why Synopsys, and what's your opinion and experience being with Synopsys and Synopsys Cloud in general?
Yeah, so one reason why Synopsys is because you have nothing when you start the startup, right? You need everything. And Synopsys has, an enormous portfolio of technology, tools, IPs, not just design IPs, verification IPs. So it gives you a very good starting point where you don't have as many gaps to fill, right? And also, those technologies are all great. You're not compromising, right? There's not weak tools, let's say, in the portfolio. They're all great. So that helped us a lot. There is something that Synopsys is doing right in the way that the company's culture is working, because they really care about supporting the customer, right? I'm not filing a ticket and someone feels, like it's a burden, right? I get response that is enthusiastically wanting to solve the problem. Is it a problem that not just you're having, but other people might have? So if I fix it in a more fundamental way, let's say not with AE-ware, but it goes back to R&D, maybe it's good for the company. The attitude is fantastic in that regard.
Thank you for acknowledging that, and I think that's a very good plug for our AE and customer support teams.
Yeah,
because they really believe in it. They take it to heart, and they fight for their customer.
Yeah, and it comes through, and it can be a thankless job, right?
It is a hard job.
It's a hard job.
Because we know that.
But I appreciate it greatly. My team appreciates it greatly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And tell me about Synopsys Cloud. How did you stumble upon us? And
this is a lifesaver, right? Okay, I'm not kidding you. I have more than 200 engineers spread all over the world. All of them think naturally, as they should, how can I get my work done faster? They never will have enough license, right? And so forth. So you're just constantly trying to balance people's needs with the corporate goal, right? And in a traditional licensing model, there is no solution, right? It's just
Absolutely.
It's not a compromise where everybody's unhappy, everybody's extremely disappointed, right? And the product slows down and so forth. So this one Flex EDA licensing and cloud-based solution enabled us, I'll say me for sure, and the leaders of my teams to be able to say, I have a budget and I know how much I can spend that is justifiable for whatever the next milestone in the startup is, right? But from day to day, do I need 10 of this and 1 of this, or it's the opposite the next day, or, you know, that kind of stuff, right? It's unpredictable.
Yep.
I can say, I know exactly what we're doing, and from past work, how many license of a given tool it takes. But if you run into a major bug, or you run into a major timing problem, or congestion problem, or, you know, thermal problem, whatever the problem is, suddenly you need a lot of license there.
Yep.
You know, so it solves all of that. On the actual chip that we did, the first one that was 3D IC based, where we put the HBM on the die. Not only did 3D IC help us just in the overwhelming complexity of that process, but at the same time, we started using the Flex EDA model, and that project, because of its complexity, had more variation in usage, and it really helped us manage through it.
Yeah, that was
it's incredible.
Thank you. So that was the original intent behind that design of that business model.
Yeah.
You get access to unlimited licenses.
Yeah.
And on the fly, the licenses get issued depending on how big your job wants to scale.
That's right.
So today you can run with 10 licenses, tomorrow you can run with 10,000, and each job is unique and different, and you only pay for the time that you use it for in minutes.
Yeah.
And I think it has been a game changer, especially for startups, many startups.
Yeah, I can't imagine. You know, someone was talking to us earlier today and mentioned that if you're working in a very large company that essentially has, you know, corporate license or whatever you want to say, right? You don't really see the problem. They already had the solution, essentially, right? All the engineers just, you know, run. But now it gives it to startup. It's a bit of a democratizing approach. Amazing. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about DreamBig. I mean, what's next for you?
So we're in the phase of our architecture is finished. Our first generation designs are coded and so forth, right? So we're trying to bring this first round of product to market, and we're developing and architecting for the second generation. So now we're going to have the challenge of, before, all of the engineering bandwidth was into the product development. Now we're going to have an overlap of sampling, supporting, debugging.
Welcome to scaling a startup.
Yeah, yes. The first one, and then developing the next one. But this is something that I think we did very well. I had a startup before. I was in a startup before, and we learned a lot from it. And we learned that lesson the hard way. So this time we've prepared for it. We have much more of a extensible design. The second generation is not, it's a fraction of the effort of the first generation, things like that.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Just before I end, I do want to ask you, anything you want to share about market adoption, customer adoption for your solution?
Yeah, I think the best advice I would have is solve the customer's problem the way the customer wants the problem solved, right? You know, customer comes, could come to you, could come publicly, I have this problem. Or it could just become known. Sometimes, you know, things just get out in the press and the company wishes it didn't, but it did. And you say, and they say, I have a problem, and you say, I have a technology that can help, and here's my solution, but it's not helpful help, right? Now, maybe they have to take it because the problem is so severe, but we try very hard to make sure that the customer can decide how our technology is composed, deployed, supported, you know, and so forth into their business model, not into ours, right?
Very cool,
Yeah.
very cool. So on the same note, I'm going to ask, what can we do better as Synopsys?
You do a lot good, so, you know. But I think 3D IC is like in its infancy, you know. So that, you know, that can just keep being better. We can be a customer that partners with you through that journey, along with others that are using it. So it's something that's only going to be needed more. and it's a very good foundation. But it's elementary in a lot of ways. I'm hoping that the integration of ANSYS will help it, because a lot of it is in the analysis and so forth. In the last time we used the tool, we also had a lot of the ANSYS tools, but we were working both independently. I think the integration of that
is absolutely going to
be amazing for you.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And for you.
Yeah.
And that was the goal. No.
Yeah.
You'll see that in the coming months, a big transformation.
Yeah. And then the last one is I emphasize everywhere I go, help us not have bugs. Help
not have bugs to begin with.
Not have bugs to begin with. That's the best case. Definitely don't tape out with a bug, or identify anything that can be a bug as early as possible. I believe with AI, this can start in spec.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It doesn't even. You don't even have to have a model or anything. But the earlier, the better. It's okay to identify a problem even if there's not a solution, because better to identify it there. And you have to be able to make decisions based on something, and the cost of that is just unbelievable.
And believe me, you're not the only one who's asked for that.
Yeah.
I think we have two solutions that are going to address that. One is, of course, the AI, and we got a lot of creative stuff coming.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's emulation.
Yes.
And you can do early validation of a lot of your designs.
Yeah, I have an opinion about emulation that maybe is common, but using emulation as I'm going to load software on the emulator and I'm going to bring it up as a system, right? I still find this to be excruciatingly difficult, and when the system complexity goes up, I find this to be excruciatingly difficult. That's true for every emulation platform, I know. But what you've done to be able to accelerate simulation on the emulator, the cockpit is the simulator, and the server evaluates the verification code, but the emulator evaluates the RTL, right?
Exactly. Yep.
That is a great technology.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think what we have learned is making that available through a cloud business model.
Oh, sure.
Is a game changer, especially for startups. So
yes.
Very cool. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
This was a very interesting conversation.
Great.
Hopefully our audience will enjoy it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.